Dear students, now we are going to discuss growth in plants. What is growth? What are the parameters on the basis of which we can measure the growth of the plant? And whether the growth is determinate or indeterminate. And what are the meristems and how they are able to increase are able to add new cells to the existing body. And what is differentiation, elongation, and before that one, what about the characteristics of meristematic cells? First, growth after completion of seed germination. So the growth is well known to you. So according to living world, what are the twin characteristics of growth? According to living world. So twin characteristics of growth are one is increasing cell number. Increase in cell number. And second one, increase in mass. Here we can take increase in biomass. So these are the twin characteristics we came across. We studied this one. So overall, growth is conspicuous, clearly visible, conspicuous, clearly visible, and irreversible process. So growth is conspicuous means clearly visible. Conspicuous, clearly visible, and irreversible. Okay, so here we are studying growth in plants. In any organism, growth is irreversible. But in the case of human beings and other organisms, if we are able to do exercise and yoga, definitely we can make it reverse. But according to biology textbook, growth is irreversible. Okay, so we can't take it back. Particularly in the case of plants, it is irreversible. We can't make it reverse. And that growth is by two events. Growth is happening. Growth is because of two things, metabolic activities, both anabolism means anabolic reactions, anabolic and catabolic reactions are responsible for growth. So growth is because of both anabolic and catabolic at the expense of energy. So growth is taking place. So growth at the expense of energy. Okay, so here anabolic and catabolic process, they need energy to stimulate growth. For example, in the case of cell division, DNA replication, protein biosynthesis, more rate of respiration, all these are both anabolic and catabolic reactions or not? Definitely. For growth and development, anabolism and catabolism, both are required. And here, what are the growth parameters? Elongation of stem, elongation of the stem, growth parameter. On the basis of length, we can say this much growth happened in a given period of time. Expansion of a leaf, that is also growth. We'll see separately that one. What about growth parameters? right? So that is about a so-called paragraph given in your textbook. Next one, in plants, growth is generally indeterminate. Generally indeterminate. So there is no termination of growth. It is a continuous process in the case of plants, unlike animals. In animals, growth is up to certain stage and certain age only. So what about in the case of plants? In plants, growth is continuous till the death of the plant. Unlike animals, in animals up to certain stage only. So here indeterminate means no termination, no growth termination. There is no termination in growth means that is because of definitely meristematic tissues. No termination of growth. This is because of meristems. Because of meristems. So growth in plants is a continuous process. There is no termination. Overall, it is continuous process. No, there is no end for that reason. It is supported by meristem. Here the question is, are all the parts are having indeterminate growth? No. Particularly stem, yesterday we discussed stem and root with a indeterminate growth. Reason, they are with meristems. What about the rest of the parts? Flowers, fruits, seeds, leaves. They are with a determinate growth. Leaves, flowers, fruits, seeds, or other parts, those which are not having meristems with a determinate growth. Determinate growth. Reason, no meristem. But overall, plant growth, not on the base of plant part, whether the plant part is with individual plant part with growth or not. Overall, growth is a continuous process. Okay, so here, what is the role of meristem? Go back to anatomy. Meristem. So in plants, growth is a open form of growth. Meristem is responsible for open form of growth. What is this open form of growth? Open form of growth. So those which are having meristem, they are with an open form of growth. What is open form of growth? Here I'm giving small flow chart to understand that concept. For example, this is a meristem, whatever the type of meristem. That meristem is with 5 cells. For example, this is a apical meristem. I will give you meristem separately. First of all, we have to discuss what is a open form of growth. Apical meristem. So in this apical meristem, for example only, how many cells are there? Indefinite. Just I'm giving certain number of cells. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells. Okay, so mitotic division completed. Mitosis. So all are divided. All are subjected to mitotic division. So how many cells are produced? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cells are produced. Wait. 8, 9, 10 cells. Take double cells. 5 into 10. 5 into 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cells. Out of 10 cells, 5 cells. Take like this. Okay, so out of 10 cells, 50% cells, for example, 5 cells, they are continuing cell division as meristematic cells. They continue as a meristem. Now, what about the rest of the cells, 5 cells, subjected to differentiation? We'll see what is differentiation. I will give you separately. Just remember the word subjected to differentiation. And they are changed into mature cells. Mature cells. Okay, so how many mature cells produced? 5 mature cells. And again, meristematic cells 1, 2, 3, 4. Those which with are retained with mitotic ability. Again, cell division. 10 cells produced out of 10. 5 retained mitotic ability. Remaining 5 are converted into mature cells. Next, third generation. Just suppose one. 5 into 10 cells. Out of 10 cells, 5 retained mitotic ability. Remaining 5 converted into mature cells. So here, certain number of meristematic cells are opened for growth, and some are in reserved or not. Reserved meristematic cells to continue cell division. But what about a certain number of cells added to existing body? Added to existing body. So out of 5 cells, 10 produced. Out of 10, 5 are opened for growth. Open for growth means they are converted into mature cells. So here meristem is able to add new cells to the existing body. So such a type of growth, what is the such a type of growth? Growth in which new cells are added by the meristem to the plant body is called as a open form of growth. So here certain number of cells opened means they are losing mitotic ability either permanently or temporarily, and they are converted into mature cells. That is called as a open form of growth. What is open form of growth? Wherein new cells are added to the existing body by the meristem. Okay, that is called as a open form of growth. That word open form of growth is very, very important. Okay, so 5 cells, 5 into 10. Out of 10, 5 retained with the mitotic ability, means reserved for meristematic tissue. They will continue cell division again. And what about the rest of the cells? Convert into mature cells. Cycle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 30, 40, whatever the number of cycles. During each and every cycle, certain number of new cells, meristematic daughter cells, are converted into mature cells. Then what about the biomass increasing or not? So growth is with the twin characteristics. Link this one with first year topic also. That is the living world. Increase in cell number. Yes, cell number increases. Increase in mass. Continuously, meristem is able to add mature cells to the existing body. Okay, so that is called as open form of growth. Open form of growth is present in plants with meristems only. In our body, there is no open form of growth. In our body, there is no localized growth. But what about in the case of plants? Localized growth. Localized growth means growth is from the area where meristem is located. But what about in our body? Growth is a diffused growth, not localized growth. If you go back to anatomy, the given statement in animals, diffused growth, not restricted to certain areas. But what about in the case of plants? Growth is from certain areas where meristematic tissues are present. Okay, so that is about open form of growth. The given definition in your textbook: open form of growth is a growth wherein in which new cells are added to the existing body by the meristematic tissue. Okay, so meristem to divide, to produce new cells. Now, what are the characteristics of meristematic cells or meristematic tissue? Now, what about meristem? So, to understand growth development in the case of physiology, you need knowledge from anatomy. So, now we are going to discuss what is meristem, what are the characteristics of meristematic cells. So, what are the characters of meristematic cells? First one, they are immature cells, youngest cells. Immature cells. And they are with cell walls. In them, cell walls. Cell walls are primary. Primary means they are with middle lamellum and primary wall. No secondary walls. With middle lamellum, plus primary wall or cell wall. Okay, so no secondary walls. No secondary walls. Generally, secondary walls are present in tracheids, vessels, sclerenchyma, sclerites, dead cells. Generally, dead cells are with secondary walls. Okay, they are immature cells. Next, non-photosynthetic. No photosynthesis. They are not able to perform photosynthesis. Reason? No chloroplast. They are having proplastids, youngest plastids, which are not able to perform photosynthesis. No photosynthesis. Next, with active cell division. Next, rich in protoplasm. Rich in protoplasm. Next, poor vacuolation. Poor vacuolation. What is a poor vacuolation? Poor vacuolation means, for example, this is a meristematic cell. The meristematic cell. Okay, so centrally located one is nucleus. N, I'm writing nucleus. What is a poor vacuolation? A number of small sized, many vacuoles are present, but they are very small. Small vacuoles. There is no large centrally located vacuole. Okay, so many small vacuoles are present. Okay, so that is called as a poor vacuolation. Next one, very, very important one, with a conspicuous, large, clearly visible nucleus actually, but in your textbook here, nuclei was given. Actually, single nucleus only. But in the textbook, in this chapter, nuclei, it refers to many, but actually monokaryotic. Okay, notice that point. Conspicuous nuclei. Actually, it is nucleus. Centrally located nucleus and many vacuoles around that. Next, with the active rate of cell division and active metabolism. Active metabolism. Next, abundant plasmodesmata. Plasmodesmata. What are they? Plasmodesmata are cytoplasmic connections, bridges between two successive cells or juxtaposed cells. Cytoplasmic bridges. Cytoplasmic bridges between cells concerned with intercellular transportation. Plasmodesmata are nothing but cytoplasmic bridges. They are concerned with the intercellular transportation. Simply cytoplasmic bridges. So these are the characteristics of meristematic cells. Okay, so remember this one. Nuclei given instead of nucleus. Right? So these are a certain number of characteristics of meristematic cells. Generally, they are compactly arranged. Compactly arranged. Right? Now, what are the types of meristems? Types of meristems. First one, on the base of origin based meristems. Origin. On the base of origin, primary or secondary in origin. First one, primary meristems. This is the first year part, anatomy. Primary meristems. Okay, so primary meristems are embryonic in origin. Embryonic in origin. Or simply persistent embryo, simply. Persistent part of, long-lasting part of embryo. Some part of embryo, some tissue of embryo is retained in the plant body. Those meristems which are coming from the embryo are called as primary meristems. So what are the examples for primary meristems? All apical meristems. All apical meristems. Next, intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem. That is also primary meristem. A remnant of apical meristem retained among permanent tissues is called as intercalary meristem. Generally, intercalary meristems are present in monocots. Anatomy. Generally present in monocots. Next, interfascicular cambium or fascicular vascular cambium. Wait, intrafascicular cambium. What is that? Intrafascicular cambium. In a vascular bundle, that is an open vascular bundle. Open vascular bundle. Here is a xylem part, and this one is phloem. Between xylem and phloem, inside the vascular bundle, a strip of cambium is present. That is called as a intrafascicular cambium. That is also primary meristem, but concerned with secondary growth. So apical meristems concerned with primary growth only. These two are concerned with primary growth. Primary growth. And what about this one? This one is a lateral meristem. Concerned with secondary growth. I will give you diagram separately. Okay, so all apical, intercalary, and intrafascicular cambium are primary meristems, embryonic in origin. So these two are concerned with primary growth only. What about this one, intrafascicular cambium, secondary growth? Next, secondary meristems. Secondary meristems. Okay, meristems from permanent simple tissues. Simple tissues like parenchyma. So parenchymatous cells are able to regain mitotic ability. So meristems developed from permanent simple tissues like parenchyma are called as a secondary meristems. Generally, they are lateral in position, sides within the stem, and they are concerned with the secondary growth. They are able to increase the girth, thickness, so concerned with secondary growth. They are concerned with secondary growth. What is that secondary growth? Increase in girth or thickness in the case of gymnosperms and angiosperms in the case of stem and root. Go back to secondary growth in dicot stem and dicot root. It was clearly given there. Now, what are the examples for secondary meristems? First one, interfascicular cambium. Interfascicular cambium. That is a secondary meristem, lateral meristem. Next, vascular cambium. Vascular cambium. In the case of roots, dicot root. Okay, next, phellogen. Phellogen or cork cambium. Okay, so these are the secondary meristems. So on the base of origin, there are two types of meristems, primary and secondary meristems, right? So that's about the first classification. Second classification, on the base of position of meristems, position based meristems. Second method of classification, second classification on the base of position. On the base of position of meristems within the plant body. First one, apical meristems. So apical meristems are restricted to, they are restricted to tips of or apexes, tips of stems, its branches and roots, root branches. Okay, their role is elongation of a stem and root. What is the function of apical meristem? Elongation. Elongation of concerned cylindrical structures. And formation of axillary bud also. Axillary bud. Axillary bud. And terminal bud also. Axillary bud and terminal bud. They're able to produce axillary buds and terminal buds. Okay, right? So that is about apical meristems. So here, leaves, fruits, flowers, seeds are not having, generally they are not having apical meristems. But inside the seed, the embryo is completely meristematic. Okay. Next, second one, intercalary meristem. What is intercalary meristem? During course of elongation of a stem, some part of apical meristem is retained among the permanent tissues. So intercalary meristems present in stems only, stems of generally grasses, monocots. Okay, so what is an intercalary meristem? Persistent apical meristem, apical meristem removed and retained among permanent tissues concerned with a regeneration of lost parts by grazing animals. They are able to regenerate stem and branches. They are able to work, able to generate, able to cause growth up to certain extent only. Intercalary meristem. So that is also primary meristem. Intercalary meristem also primary meristem. Third one, lateral meristems. Lateral meristems. What is lateral meristem? They are present towards a side peripheral part within the cylindrical structures, root and stem, particularly in the case of stems and roots. So most of the lateral meristems are secondary meristems. not primary. Secondary in origin. Most of them are secondary in origin. What are the examples? Phellogen, secondary in origin. Next, vascular cambial ring, VCR, vascular cambial ring of roots. Vascular cambial ring of roots, completely secondary in origin. Phellogen, vascular cambial ring of roots, completely secondary in origin. Next, interfascicular cambium. Interfascicular cambium, that is also secondary meristem. Next, some lateral meristems, some are primary in origin. So example for some lateral meristems primary in origin, that is intrafascicular cambium, and all these are lateral meristems, all lateral meristems, whether they are primary or secondary in origin, all lateral meristems are concerned with secondary growth. So that's about a classification of various types of meristems. Now, your textbook diagram. What about your textbook diagram? Here, in this case, in this chapter, what about the diagrammatic representation of location of various types of meristems in this chapter? So this is a dummy diagram. Okay, so this is a stem tip, and this one root tip. So here it is the meristem, this part, certain number of cells, whatever the number of cells. This one is apical meristem, shoot apical meristem. And here is the meristem. This is a root apical meristem. Root apical meristem. Now, what about open form of growth? See, according to the direction, see, they're adding new cells to the existing body. That is an open form of growth. What is open form of growth? Addition of new cells. For example, addition of new cells to the existing body. Here also, addition of cells is the direction of addition of cells, open form of growth. Okay, so in the case of stem, here along the length, the given one, lateral meristem is given. For example, this is a lateral meristem here. Okay, this is a root part, shoot part, stem part. So this one is a lateral meristem. Longitudinal section, actually it is a cylindrical one. Now here, what about the direction of open form of growth? Towards inside, and towards outside also. Okay, though that is in the case of a so-called one, and here also in the case of a root, lateral meristem, towards inside, outside. For example, here I'm taking vascular cambial ring, vascular cambial ring, VCR. So for example, this is vascular cambial ring. It is able to cut off, able to produce a tissue towards inside. Towards inside tissue is definitely xylem or not? Towards inside, xylem part. And towards outside a phloem part, secondary phloem. Okay, so this one secondary xylem or not? Secondary xylem part. And this one secondary phloem. So that's why arrows both side, inside and outside. Inside secondary xylem, outside secondary phloem. And if you take a phellogen, in the case of phellogen, for example, this is a phellogen. Phellogen. It is a ring of phellogen. Certain number of layers. Towards inside, phelloderm. Go back to anatomy of secondary growth, phelloderm. Okay, so inside phelloderm. And outside, phellum, cork tissue, phellum, cork tissue. Cork is a discontinuously produced. And here and there, complementary cells. Complementary cells. Okay, so this one is a cork. And this one complementary cells. First year part. And this entire lens-shaped structure is called as a lenticell. Okay, so that's about a contribution of meristems. So definitely, all these meristems are able to perform open form of growth. During open form of growth, either primary permanent tissues or secondary permanent tissues are produced. Primary permanent tissues means during primary growth, parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, primary xylem, primary phloem. Secondary growth, secondary xylem, secondary phloem, secondary parenchyma, secondary sclerenchyma. There is no collenchyma. During secondary growth, there is no formation of collenchyma, right? So that is about various types of meristems. Okay, so now, what is differentiation? What are the events which are taking place at the time of differentiation? Here I'm taking differentiation. So before moving into parameters of growth, what are the parameters of growth? We have to know what is differentiation. For example, this is a meristematic cell. This part is very, very important. This is a meristematic cell. Single cell I'm taking. This is a meristematic cell. This meristematic cell is with a large centrally located nucleus or nuclei, usually only one nucleus, and many vacuoles. And this is a primary meristem. Here I'm taking primary meristem, apical meristem. You can take apical meristem. Okay, so this is a single cell. Here I'm taking one cell. After division, two cells are produced. Meristematic cell 1 meristematic cell 2. Nucleus or nuclei with many small vacuoles. Okay, so out of these two cells, one cell is continuing as meristematic cell. Meristematic cell. Now, what about a second one? For example, this one, right? So absorption of water. Absorption of water. So once it is absorbed with water, what about a cell elongation? Now the cell is elongated. Take big sized cell, elongation. During elongation, what about the fate of the cells? Ruptured. So what are the events which are taking place during differentiation? First one, elongation. Elongation of the cell because of absorption of water. Next, removal of cell walls. Cell walls removed because of elongation. Cell walls ruptured, removed. Right? Next, how many vacuoles are present? Many vacuoles. Now all these vacuoles merged into large centrally located vacuole. Large vacuole. We studied this one under the heading cell biology, the unit of life, vacuole. So third event, all small vacuoles merged into one vacuole. Poor vacuolation into large vacuole, 90% volume. Go back to the unit of life. 90% volume occupied by large centrally located vacuole or not? Now, what about the nucleus towards periphery? Here. Okay, so now this cell is called as a mature cell. Okay, next formation of walls, removal of cell walls and formation of new walls. Formation of new walls. New walls are produced. New walls are produced. Okay, so this process is called as a, here in this case, differentiation. Okay, all these events are taking place. And last event, the fourth one, cell division, mitosis, is suspended. Suspended means that may be temporarily or permanently. Now the cell is at G0 phase. Remember this one. Entered into G0, quiescent stage. Okay, so in that cell division may be possible or not. It depends on requirement. If required, the cell is called for cell division. Otherwise, that cell remains within the G0 phase, taking exit from G1, and that will enter into G0 phase. So taking exit, go back to cell biology. Exit from G1 and entering into quiescent stage, that is called as G0. Okay, in G0 means the cell at G0. Cell division is suspended. Suspended means either permanently or temporarily. If it is permanently, not able to regain mitotic ability. If it is temporarily, it is able to regain mitotic ability. So here differentiation, during differentiation, loss of cell division. Okay, so cell is losing losing cell division, loss of cell division. So it may or may not able to get a mitotic ability. It depends on type of the cell. If it is parenchyma, able to regain mitotic ability if required. Okay, so that is called as a here differentiation. Okay, so differentiation leads to what? Mature cell. This is open form of growth or not? This cell is open for growth, like that. Second generation, third generation, fourth, 10th, 100th, number of generations leads to what? Increase in the number of mature cells, right? So that is about differentiation. Differentiation means conversion of simply meristematic daughter cell into mature cell. Permanent cell. This is also called as permanent cell. That permanent cell is either parenchyma or collenchyma or sclerenchyma or xylem concerned one or phloem concerned one, right? So this part is very, very important.